The presentation, we will be discussing the FTK2 and the password cracking capabilities within FTK2. For those individuals that have not yet had an opportunity to view any of our existing webinars or presentations, please do go out to our website, as we find that these will be most useful to you in helping you better understand how to utilize FTK2 and a number of the functions within FTK2. Process this particular case. As you can see, I have a couple different options here during the pre-processing stages, and one of those options were to decrypt EFS files during the processing stages. I've chosen not to select that particular option for the benefit of discussion here within FTK, so that we can demonstrate some of the EFS capabilities and the decryption capabilities within FTK. As you can see, I've got 5 encrypted files here. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to select these 5 files here, exporting those files out so that I can add those into PRTK for the purpose of decryption. As you can see, I've got a couple different options here to check highlighted or check items, highlighted items, as well as I have some additional file options here where I can append an item number and so on and so forth. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and select the checked items here, showing that I have these 5 files here. Give it a destination path as to where I'm going to drop these files into for the purpose of adding these into PRTK. Having now exported those particular files out, one of the other options that you do have is based on the indexing that was done in the pre-processing stages of this particular evidence file. I have the ability here to export a word list out, and that word list can be then utilized for the purpose of a dictionary attack against these particular encrypted files. As you can see, I have the ntuser.dat as well as a couple other different files. These particular files may contain some evidentiary natured files, or should I say based on Yahoo accounts or other login credentials that may have been utilized. I have the ability here then to utilize that as part of the dictionary attack against those files that I currently have on my display here. As you can see, those 5 files. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to export those files out, and once those files have been exported out, or should I say the word list has been created, this is a text file, I will take and utilize that within PRTK and first try to do a dictionary attack in hopes that I can identify credentials that were in there that were utilized to encrypt these files here. And if by chance that identification can be made, these files will then be decrypted based on that information. So now that I have that word list created, now I have the ability here to go out and launch the PRTK application itself, in which then I can import that word list in as a dictionary. So what I would then do is go up to the tools option here, select the dictionary tools here, which then I would go out and navigate to where that location of that file is located at, as I've created that and put that onto my desktop, and I have a location out here that is decrypted files. I'll select the word list. It'll pull that word list in, and I have a couple different other options here where I can actually do a number of different things to it, whether I want to select a English dictionary or by chance a language dictionary of some sort. What I'm going to do is create an English dictionary here, utilizing the letters, the symbols, the digits, and diacritics and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and generate that. Based on the word list that may have been exported from that particular image, this may take up to several minutes for it to create the appropriate dictionaries that would be then utilized within the dictionary attack against these password encrypted files. Another option that you can also use is based on biographical information, based on the individual that may have had this particular machine. If this person was arrested, or by chance that they are in a corporate entity or such, what you would like to try to do is to leverage as much information as you possibly can against that individual. As you note that many individuals are a creature by habit, whereas they will try to create passwords that are most closely to them, such as mother's maiden name, their daughter's name, girlfriend's name, a combination of birthdays, and a number of other things. When you add that information in as a biographical dictionary, it permutates those particular words that you may have. Say, for instance, you end up having 20 lines of information. It will then permutate that, and you may now have 200 various permutations, which then become a dictionary attack. Again, that's a secondary dictionary. So it may permutate putting the person's name in combination with a social security number or a phone number or birth date. Then it may start out with a partial birth date, and it may come up with a name. So I mean, there's a variation of permutations that may take place during that processing. Now that that dictionary is actually generated, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to add those particular files in that we had exported out. So we're going to go ahead and select the folder in which we have those files in. I'm going to navigate out to the location where those files are located at, and we're going to pull those files in based on that. So let's go ahead and navigate out to where I have those files. So go ahead, like I said, we're going to go ahead and navigate out to where those files are located at. As I indicated, we put those on the desktop. So let's go ahead and grab those particular files based on those files themselves. As I indicated, we're going to go ahead and select these particular files here for the purpose of adding these into PRTK and begin processing those. Again, selecting that dictionary that we had created previously. So let's go ahead and add those files in here. That's going to ask a couple credential information based on creating a profile for this. Files themselves are being they're being identified as to whether they're a document file, whether they're a PDF file, and so on and so forth. It will go through and identify and then ask for certain credentials and stuff such that may be pertaining to what these particular files may be. I'm going to go ahead and select OK based on its identification here. Some additional options here is going to ask for if I have a key or I have other options, those will be presented to me in which I can add to this particular case. Since I don't have that detail information, I'm going to go ahead and utilize the appropriate defaults here. And now once that's completed here, I should be able to process that and continue on. We'll go ahead and continue processing that. It's going to ask me here for a dictionary. In this particular one, we are going to be utilizing English. If by chance that there are other opportunities here, such as foreign languages and such, I will be able to utilize those. There are some predefined ones here, templates so to speak, or I can create an entirely new profile. What I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to create a new profile here, and I'm going to be selecting those word lists that we generated previously, such as I've got a number of options that are predefined here. We're going to go ahead and deselect those predefined ones and utilize the FTK word list that we had previously generated for the purpose of this demonstration. So let's go ahead and deselect all those. We're going to go ahead and leave everything over here as such. I can either give it a name here and I can save that name, and that will become a new profile in which I can select. In this particular scenario, we have the ability to select the English dictionary. Based on whether we're going to be doing some things with the character groups and such, we have those options here. I'm going to go ahead and select utilizing the defaults here on the levels here, and I want to go ahead and save that. So I'm going to go ahead and save that that profile out. So if by chance I want to utilize it again, I'm going to be able to use it for other cases, or possibly make some modifications here to that particular profile. So let's go ahead and save that out. I'm going to go ahead and process that based on the credentials and such that I had entered in previously. On that information, there's levels that are being created, which will then take and be utilized against that password decryption. again utilizing that dictionary that we created from the exported word list. And as I also indicated, had we created a biographical dictionary, it hence would have then given us an option there to select that as well. I recommend that we try to do that as much as we can, only because there's a lot of individuals that type in a password or they type in a particular phrase within their computer system, and at one time or another it could potentially be saved in the registry, unbeknownst to them that at a later time it can then be utilized in this particular scenario as a dictionary attack against password encrypted files. In the event that I don't have a word list to actually work from, what ends up happening is I utilize the standard golden dictionary or dictionaries that are currently available to me on PRTK. Hence then, if I don't have a biographical dictionary or a word list or something that would help leverage the password cracking, it will use the basic dictionary functionality within PRTK. And once it reaches a certain point, what it's going to do is then do a brute force attack against given password encrypted files. Some of the other options you've got is also utilizing the rainbow tables. Those are pre-computed hash values, and those can be utilized against PDF files, Word and Excel files, as well as against the LAN hash files that you may have. Secondary to that is you also have the TAC, which is the Tableau Accelerator, which consists of 16 FPGA processors. So those processors help expedite those more complex algorithms such as WinRAR, WinZip, PGP, and other types. Theoretically, what's taking place here is it's increasing the CPU processing, because each one of those FPGAs is a processor. Hence, when you do have that hooked up to your PRTK, it will actually go out and ramp up to those existing TAC units and try to leverage the processing power that may come from those devices. Say, for instance, you might be getting 50 passwords a second. What ends up happening is, over a length of time, meaning as it may, if once I've added in a TAC unit or multiple TAC units, I then have the luxury of having approximately 170 plus thousand passwords a second, which increases the probability quite high in that sense when you're thinking of algorithms and how long it might take for those more complex files. Utilizing the rainbow tables, you can hook those up, and when those are attached to the PRTK or possibly the DNA, which is the distributed network attack, it then takes full advantage of that, utilizing that in combination to the workers that might be utilized in a PRTK environment. Some of the other options that you may have during this processing, when you're selecting the appropriate profiles, you do have the ability then to define whether or not you may have various combinations, such as a combination of uppercase, lowercase characters, or possibly characters plus uppercase values as well as numeric values. And in knowing or having some basic information of this particular individual's machine or their patterns in which they may utilize, you can narrow down a number of the search criteria, or the search criteria in which will help to decrypt these particular files. And for those individuals that decide that they want to better understand how to potentially reverse engineer keys or other things within PRTK or decrypted files, the applied decryption class goes into great detail on leveraging a number of different capabilities within FTK, PRTK, and a combination of other tools and such that can be utilized to help you better understand and maximize the full functionality within PRTK or DNA. As indicated earlier, DNA is a distributed network attack, which then utilizes a multitude of different machines. For hypothetical reasons here, let's just talk about, you have approximately 100 machines out there. Each one of those particular machines has a processor on it in which a worker is running. And those workers themselves then help utilize the idle processing power to help crack portions or chunks of a job that is distributed out from a supervisor. The supervisor then manages all of those packets and such that have been sent out to the various workers, and hence then once the packets are reconstructed back at the supervisor level, based on the processing of that, will then provide either a key or a password based on what you're trying to actually do, or the system is capable of doing based on the module limitations or capabilities of that particular module. Again, if you're utilizing the rainbow tables themselves, such as the Office and which consists of the Word and the PDF, those don't necessarily provide you with an actual password. They provide you with a key. That key is utilized then to unlock that document or being able to open that document up. Once that document is actually opened up, that document then can be indexed back into the FTK portion of your evidence. Hence, there may be evidentiary items that are contained within that encrypted file that may be most useful, such as confidential information, proprietary information to the company, trade secrets, or potentially malicious activities that may be taking place, where they may be sending out a stego file or something which contains some sort of a contraband or some other item within that file. So once you do get these files open, they become most useful to you. Not knowing what's in those, it should be intriguing, because it may contain that evidentiary item, or should I say a smoking gun, so to speak, in which you can utilize to help leverage in this particular case. As you can see, there's a multitude of files here which may look like it's almost a duplicate. But it's not necessarily a duplicate. What it consists of is there's dependencies based on the particular file type, such as Word files may only have a couple different items in which they may be utilizing for the purpose of that dependency. In other cases, you may actually drop one file in here and there are no dependencies beyond the scope of the identification of that file, so that it's not going to add that in, such as in this case here, a best script file may contain 4 parts, and that goes back to our previous screens here where we're selecting the profile and selecting the various check boxes and adding in keys and so forth. Based on the information and credentials there, I may be only selecting to do a dictionary attack versus a dictionary attack followed by a key space attack. In this particular case, I've gone ahead and selected the default, so you're going to see a little bit more than you normally would see in most instances. Now we go ahead and let this process until it is completed. And then once those files have been completed, then we will add additional evidence items, adding these particular files back into the case. And like I indicated earlier, they may contain evidentiary information that will be most useful to you in helping you crack this case a little bit further. That pretty much concludes the overview of the PRTK. If by chance that there's additional functionalities or capabilities in which you want to better understand, I may suggest that you go out and attend our Applied Decryption class, which goes into great depths on FTK and the registry viewer. Again, if you have any further questions, feel free to give accessdata.com an email out to the support forum, or possibly post a question on the support arena that we have on our website, or our support forum. Otherwise, if you call our tech support department, they would be more than happy to help you better utilize or leverage the Access Data's FTK and the Password Recovery Toolkit. Thanks, and I appreciate your time, and again, have a great day, as the passwords will continue here for some time, so I don't want to waste your time, shall we say, as these continue processing. But to give you a brief overview, that is pretty much what we've been capable of doing here, is to decrypt some of those files. I'm going to touch base just briefly on these icons up here where you have the ability to resume If in a pause state, it will resume. Then you also have the capability here to trash some files here. You have the ability to manage the profiles, manage directories, verify the appropriate hashes. Now in this case here, you've got hash values that were generated based on this. Those will then be displayed over here in your properties area, which you can better view. And again, you have the ability to output this information or basically print this out to a location in which you can add to a given report. As you can see, it's print preview here. So those are just some of the options that you might have. Again, I appreciate you taking the time, and I hope this was most useful to you, and you take care and you have a wonderful day. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.